Rocking and rolling again, guys. We're back. Mastering Mitzvahs. Welcome back to our podcast. Jordan Marshall, Mike Langsner. We're back in action. Episode number 3. And Mike, you've got something special. I feel like we've been waiting to kind of break this and unload this on our listeners and, on our clients and both, new, old that are coming. And this is cool. So what do we got today?
Well, we said last week that we had big news. So we got big news and we're celebrating. We actually got liquor in front of us.
Yeah, and it is after 12 o'clock Eastern time. So
somewhere.
It's the afternoon. So
what are we celebrating? Explosive Entertainment's big news is a year plus in the works that we were looking to grow our business, get into a new demographic, a new area, a new territory, and we had somebody in mind that we wanted to do this with for a while, and conversations actually started right here at his very home about 2 years ago, and really effectively last year and a half or so, the ball was in motion.
And naturally came to fruition, which is cool.
Without any further ado, sitting between the two of us right now is our very close friend and now business partner, Adam Weitz of A Sharp Productions.
Industry pro, the OG, baby. Mr. Adam Weitz in the flesh.
Would you kindly tell me what OG means?
Original gangster.
Original gangster, okay. Because, there's so many things like, oh, God, or, So I'm here. Yeah, this was a very elongated 2 years because all three of us had so many ideas about how we were going to spin a ripe combination of two different unique energies, and it took a good year, and then we put it into action, and then it took a year of figuring out how the puzzle pieces were going together, but we did it. We just did it.
Awesome.
So before we get too deep into it, there's listeners. This is a new podcast. We're just kind of getting our feet wet. We just broke our first 100 listeners, which is pretty awesome in only 5 days of being on the airwaves. But Explosive Entertainment, been in business for 12 years, started as a mitzvah company and based out of Monmouth County. Adam, what's a little background about A Sharp?
So A Sharp Entertainment, it took a few names. It was A Sharp Production originally, and then it became A Sharp Events and Entertainment. And then I really brought it back to A Sharp Production because we've had such an elongated history with that name. People were just used to saying it all the time. So we said, you know what, why mess with a good historical name? We kept it good. It was strong on the internet. We started about 22 years ago. 1997, I incorporated, and I started taking on administrative roles, and we started actually entertaining in 1998.
I was a sophomore in high school.
You were a sophomore in high school.
Sure was.
And what were you doing during that time?
Trying to stay awake during class.
Oh, my goodness. if you keep drinking this,
I should have had some of Adam's best with me.
Oh, my goodness. This is called nalewka. It's a Polish liqueur.
And you made this.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
You're all welcome here to try it. So we worked diligently to stay within the bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah market that I had been entertaining in since I was 13 years old.
Your father actually was in this industry too, right?
Father was a band leader, and I grew up as a kid playing the tambourine, watching the band perform, soon to step up as background vocalist, lead vocalist. I did band leading. When it came time to play games with the kids,
now, how old were you doing this?
13.
Did you take lessons for the tambourine?
I did. I did. It was T101B. It was a great course.
Right after the bar mitzvah lesson was the tambourine lesson.
That's exactly right. You bowed and then you shook. Bow, shook. Bow, shook. It's like bend and snap, but it's different.
That's it. So you were on the road.
I was.
Great.
So I had been doing it. I watched, ironically, a lot of today's industry leaders, ironically, used to come out and watch me and my father's band perform because they were kids themselves. Only I was like maybe 6 or 7 years younger. So we used to watch them. We used to go out and entertain, and the principles that I apply to today's party, same principles. And that's one of the things that I have loved about this industry is my father always said to me, it was a great adage, and I always was very sarcastic, as many cocky sons that are growing up in the industry will usually do. He says, son, do not reinvent the wheel. And I said, Dad, you got to get a hot rim. Only this has LED on it and it spins and whatnot. So I think the overall mentality of that is you have to keep the basic principles that make great parties what they are.
Right.
No matter how much voila you put into an event, as long as you're staying focused on why you're there and the experience that they're to obtain before leaving, that is truly the important value of that will not just make A Sharp production or now AX Productions a such a unique name over the next few decades, but you're going to be able to reach back to clients that you're entertaining today and make them family clients.
So let's dial back for a second. Explosive started in Manalapan, Monmouth County, Central Jersey. Has A Sharp always been Pennsylvania, Bucks County?
Pretty much. We have always had a pretty strong lion's share in Bucks County, Montgomery County. We had a nice return on mainline, South Jersey. But over the years, as many industries do, especially the DJ industry, evolved. I mean, I watched it from its infantile stages to this evolution of just mammoth production companies everywhere. And the unique part about this industry now is that clients really have a plethora of different type of industries to choose from. So what areas you entertain are truly going to be what you offer to the clients.
And we sell Explosive as a brand that is powered by talent. I mean, that's always been our
mantra.
Yeah, that's okay. And feel the very same way about A Sharp.
Yes.
You can do all the glitz and glamour, but you guys first and foremost lead by talent. Yourself and Jay Berkovitz, who's your lead MC next to yourself.
How long has Jay actually been in the fold?
Jay has been with us since 2003. And his quick story is he was a kid at the party that I want you to imagine a young kid at the age of like 11 or 12. You see him at some of the bar and bat mitzvahs, and you're like, he's always trying to grab the mic. He's that kid, he's always trying to get involved, be your like young apprentice. That was Jay. And he always used to, at the parties, used to run the Cotton Eye Joe, was his big thing. He was great. I said, do you want to be a dancer? He said, no, that's not really my thing.
Right.
I asked him if he wanted to be a DJ. He said, no, that's not really my thing. I said, what do you want to do?
He wanted to take your job.
He wanted to take my job. That's exactly right. And he did in almost every fashion. He was such a great MC, and he started the day of his 18th birthday. He says, when can I MC for you? I said, the day you turn 18. Calls me on his 18th birthday.
Cool.
And then from there,
history.
And he's it's a really great guy, and you obtaining such a young talent, and I still say young talent because he is, but he is a loyalist. And I think what most clients that you're going to have that have Jay is going to enjoy the fact that he's very loyal to what he says he does.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of times gets lost in translation with other companies. They either fill out forms and then you have the office saying, yeah, but if you read people's reviews, they said they were going to do this. They said they were going to do that. Jay, he's a checklist. He makes sure that everything the clients want, and it's the things that are in between what they want.
Right.
Not just what they want, but how they want it. And that's, and you learn that from me.
And what's great, Mike and I love that culture because I think that's really why ultimately, A Sharp was such a great fit for Explosive, and the pairing of the two brands was, pretty, aside from the paperwork and getting everything done, our thought process and kind of the way that we tackle events and the way we approach our clients is very similar.
So let me actually dial back for the listeners. So here's what's happening. A Sharp and Explosive are becoming a partnership. The brands are going to stay unique. We're not dissolving the A Sharp name. We want all the A Sharp customers to still be very comfortable knowing A Sharp is thriving and growing.
Especially since the name is already so great.
Yeah.
You've established great presence.
And Adam is going nowhere. So for those who are listening, Adam is here for life. He is
fully in the fold.
Here lies Adam. Start and stop. A sharp. Dot pop.
This is kind of the situation I ran into when I first, got Explosive on the map. Is that you're constantly playing racquetball with yourself, hitting the ball against the wall, and there's nobody to bounce ideas and kind of 2.0 your brand a little bit with, and see what works, what doesn't work. So the addition of Mike and now the addition of you to the table, it's almost like we're forming our own Knights of the Round Table to come up with some killer ideas.
And I want to emphasize that for a second, and forgive me, Mike, because I got to know you second, okay? But I met Jordan, and he was this young, vibrant entity, but he was unique. And I think one of the things that I enjoyed when watching you entertain was that you had a unique perspective in the way that you delivered the message, and I found it enjoyable to watch. When an entertainer can be entertained, that's when you know you have something special.
Thank you.
And of course, and that was one of the reasons that when a few years ago when we were hanging out here at my home and we were having a colleague party, and we looked at each other and
it's amazing that was like almost 4 years ago now. 3.5 years ago?
No, that was. Was that? No, it was two. This will be coming up on 3
seconds. When was
Think Tank 17?
So 2 years.
2 years
okay,
ago.
Cool.
So this summer will be So when we were talking and we stopped, Mike, and we looked at each other and we just went, "What the F are we?
What
doing?
are we doing?
Right? What are we doing?" And we need really and I'll tell you that is the thing that I've seen the most in one. You say, what is the biggest industry's change? Someone like Jeff Stiles from DJ Times, he calls and says, "Well, what do you feel is the best industry change?"
Right.
And I said, the best industry change, the biggest one that I've seen is synergy, because I really feel that you don't have to own and operate every single object that you have. You just need to be able to be educated on it and be able to offer it to the clients. And the one unique thing that I can at least bring to the table when I know combining our companies together is the experience of working with so many different forms of the extra entertainment, which is why I was so excited to join with Explosive, because you offer so many items for extra entertainment. We offer so many great programs in talent training. And that's why I just really felt that the two companies were going to combine very nicely.
Yeah, so again, for listeners, we have two brands now. One is primarily Pennsylvania-based. One is primarily Jersey-based. Mm-hmm. The talent is going to be shared across the two companies.
Yes.
And that's huge, Mike. That's such a big thing.
Each brand has its own history, its own identity. Yeah, look is a great word. So we're not doing away with that, but our goal is to use each brand to help amplify each other
and taking page out of Adam's book, synergy. That's what's up.
The comment that you mentioned originally, where you said we're gonna do A Sharp 2.0. I love that, because there's a lot of companies out there right now, and you're listening to this podcast, and you're saying, I don't need this, I don't need that. You do. And if you don't, or you're saying you don't, it's because you're ignorant. Listen, okay, life changes very quickly. One of the thing that I learned, and I learned it on a social platform that I'm having fun with, you think that your ideas are unique, but they're not. If you don't jump on it first, someone else is going to think of it within moments, capitalize it, and be past you in a second. You are not God. You have God-like mentality, and that's a good thing if you are a unique person, but being able to take an idea, market it, get it out there right away.
You're hitting the nail on the head, man. That's actually one of the reasons why we cranked this podcast out so quick. Mike, it was in a matter of 24 hours, Mike had the idea, we went back and forth, like, we got to get it out, though.
Absolutely.
And we knew that there were other people sleeping on this idea.
Correct.
And we, it was one of those like shower ephanies. I'm taking a shower. I'm like, we need a podcast.
Yep.
And
that's
what do we need a podcast?
I mean, we need a podcast.
Yeah. 24 hours later, we got a recorder and
a clean mic.
Yes,
literally
took it out of the shower.
Literally,
Michael is clean.
So we're sitting in Adam's dining room. I'm dying to ask: is this a picture of you meeting the Pope?
This is a picture of Saint Pope John Paul II in his, God bless, his final couple years. We were given a couple tickets. That's the above part picture. We were given a couple tickets to meet him privately. He did an audience with thousands of people, and what was so unique when watching that, which, excuse me for saying this, which I almost thought was a greater experience than kneeling in front of him, kissing his hand, it was that he spoke in 9 different languages. He did not have a teleprompter. He just spoke 9 different languages to the audiences that were there.
We have enough trouble with just English sometimes.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But we teach you good Hebrew.
That's right.
Ivrit, it's very good.
So this is a mitzvah-related podcast, and we're talking about the Pope, which is probably something I never...
No, I'll tell you what the irony of that is. My wife is Roman Catholic. If it were not for St. Pope John Paul II, I would not have been allowed to marry her, because he was the one that decided that religions can marry outside the church, but there were special rules that you had to follow. And
that's probably a pretty good guy to have in your corner if you want to get something done.
I would probably say that. I'd probably say it led me here.
And the bottom line is, guys, that Adam is such a dynamic personality, talent, family man. Tell us a little about your family, man. What are you all about?
Born and raised in Philadelphia, from ground zero. My parents were from Philly. My grandparents, the great grandparents. I learned a lot about the value of family and business and entertainment, being that both sides, my mother and father's side, were musicians. Mm-hmm. My father, his father, my pop-up, God bless, God rest his soul, he was a writer and a performer, traveled the globe with, for example, Louis Armstrong. He was his second violinist.
Amazing.
Yeah, and actually wrote songs for him. So some of the side projects that I'm doing, while you guys are handling all the administration, and I can enjoy.
I love the excitement that's coming on over right now. As you should see the smile that's on this man's face right now, from ear to ear.
Believe me when I tell you, man, the synergy has a side motive too. Okay, but what's nice is to be able to offer the creativity that I really enjoy expressing. I needed to ease up on a lot of the things that I know that this left brain Mike Langsner knows how to do so well.
Amazing.
And it's good because now I can get creative. So like a lot of
I'm shaking now thinking about all the emails already in my inbox, let alone what's...
He's just nervous because he feels I have my evil twin. So now it's 2 against 1 here.
No, actually it's what's so funny is Jeff Cyber said, when he was trying to form everything, he said, Adam, it's one of the things is you're either a really good businessman or you're a really good entertainer. I said, well, why can't you be both? He goes, because you and I are talking right now. Okay. And I said, oh, that's unique.
That's the reason why I have a job. That's it.
I said, well, and I've always, honestly...
If Jeff is listening, though, I went dial back 20 years ago. Jeff, were you a really good business person or were you a really good entertainer?
He was a great disco dancer.
This is how we could actually quiz him if he listens to our podcast.
Yeah.
This is great.
What color was Washington's White Horse? Do you know I used to do
brown.
that?
It fell in the mud.
Exactly.
Right?
I used to do that when we were sending out information to the employees right before the weekend. We would see if they were reading this stuff. So in between, I turned around and said, "Do you prefer .com or .net for A Sharp's future? Just please let us know by replying to this email." We just put it inside the paragraph just to see if they were frickin' reading this thing.
And
nobody reads it. so it's just confirmed for the weekend.
So staying on target, one of the things that we've been asking our guests on this podcast is any tips that you have for families planning parties?
So there's families listening to this podcast. And if there are, I will tell you that, and this goes against everything that these two boys are going to want to hear right now. But one of the things that I think I'm being brought on for is to be able to offer some old-fashioned common sense to a lot of the people here today, is that money is looked at a lot differently than pre-2008. Okay, so when you started Explosive, you had a certain mentality, but post-2008, and a lot of people will tell you whose businesses were pre-2008 can verify this, the water flowed like wine a lot more richly than it does now. So people are watching their money. So One thing that I tell their clients is, if you want to make sure that if you know what you want, it's sometimes really good to know what you want. If you know what you want, book it early so you can lock in your rates, because everything right now, according to the way the economy is the rates are going up. If you are not sure about what you want, but you know that A Sharp or Explosive is going to be able to provide it for you, they will stay in communication with you during the time, but you don't have to book everything now. Put down the basics that you need to lock in your talent, to lock in the DJ production company you want. Do you want a bigger package but you're not sure right now? Fine. Book in a specific deposit to lock in a specific talent that'll last. So I want Frankie. Frankie's this really dynamic master of ceremonies for Explosive. When you go and book Frankie for an event, he may have a minimum requirement that you have to book him in order to get him on a Saturday night in May. Fine. What is that minimum? Put it down, and then Explosive and A Sharp will meet with you periodically throughout the duration of your waiting period to make sure that you are educated on all the different things that are going on. Hey, it's happened. You've turned around and said, OMG, that stands for oh my God, Jordan.
Is that what the kids are saying?
Yes, that's what they're saying.
That's what the kids are saying.
Besides hit or miss, they're actually saying OMG. So they are actually saying, OMG, we decided to go to Israel. Mm-hmm. So now you took this deposit for this ginormous package, and according to their agreement, there's time for them to make alterations. We don't want you to make alterations. We want you to be 100% sure of your ideas. So take the time, let us educate you, book what's appropriate now, let us keep communicating with you throughout the duration of time. You may thought you have wanted one type of party, and then all of a sudden it turns into a different type of party.
We know that full-fledged, and we preach exactly the same. This is why the whole synergy of the two brands meshing works so perfectly. Firm believers, there are some families that need to know every last penny that they're going to spend before they put their name on paper. There's other families who don't even want to think about what type of photo booth or what color scheme or what stages. Just know that you want Adam or you want Jordan or you want Frankie to be your performer. Book that, lock that in, and figure out the rest as it gets closer. That's totally cool. So what other tips do you have for a mitzvah family?
Okay, so for mitzvah families, I think it is very important for you to recognize budget up front. And that has a lot to do with, I teach a seminar and I go to some shuls, synagogues, and I try to explain to them that before you get into the process of entertaining your guests, you want to examine, believe it or not, it's such an odd term to say, but you want to examine the risks. So, for example, how many people are you definitely thinking you're going to have? And overestimate. Okay, so if I think I'm going to have 100 right now, but my party is in June and my kid is the youngest, that means that he will have already gone through the entire mitzvah cycle until he gets to his, which means he's going to have a ton of more friends. And you're going to have to do the quote-unquote courtesy invite, which means you're inviting more guests. So you've got to have the venue that's going to be able to hold the amount of guests so you don't have to wind up switching venues. That's going to be a money killer. You have to make sure that the entertainment that you get, if it's not us, I mean, we're doing a podcast, it's not just so you book us. Whatever entertainment company you're booking, you have to remember, they have to be insured, they have to be educated, they have to be able to answer the questions without saying, I'll be right back, let me check with my boss. It doesn't work like that. You have to be able to talk to anybody at the company, and they should be educated, which means the company itself is educating their employees. They have to have good risk, they have to have good insurance. All of the vendors that you're using, these people have to be very accustomed to working in the mitzvah industry. The mitzvah industry is a different animal than weddings and corporate. So they have to know how things like this operate. And also, of course, more than anything else, you have to be able to have a company honor all of the little details. If there anything that Jewish clienteles love is the little details that are in between the big details. If you're a detail-oriented person, the right type of production company is going to be able to help you. If there's someone that's just, and these two boys will be able to verify, today, getting into this industry as an entertainment company or production company is easier than ever because it doesn't require a degree. But our degree, all three of us, is in the degree of hard knocks, the degree of longevity, the degree of education, and the degree of playing thousands of parties for clients that have been we are able to justify what is in the best interest for the client. We're not going to sell you on what's the best interest for our bottom line.
Yeah, that's huge. That's such a big topic too, Adam, in its own, because I feel like sometimes clients get a little bit nervous when it comes to booking because they feel like they're being sold a used car. They feel like, they're throwing everything at me, including the kitchen sink. On our end, we try to, support a party, an event, just like you guys do, with exactly what it needs. Some cool ideas, a great beginning, a middle, and an end. You want to have that event have great substance all the way through.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean, and your wow factors, when people say wow factors, they don't have to cost $1 million. They just need creativity.
Some of the best parties, Jordan, I've ever had have had the least amount of wow factors.
Right.
And I'm not trying to talk people out of going with a lot of this extra entertainment. I'm just saying when you get down to the best parties, they have to have great entertainment, and every client will tell you the same thing. It's not like some branding issue. I mean, you have to have great entertainment. You have to have great food and liquor for the client. You have to have a great space that it's comfortable for people to be able to party in, and then everything else will lend itself to what you're going to get. Do you need extra entertainment because, let's say, you're having a bar mitzvah and the boy hasn't developed yet into that social extrovert that the parents are knowing that he's going to when he blossoms, but he may not blossom this 13th year. So they may want the extra entertainment.
He'll probably get it the day after his bar mitzvah. That's how it always happens.
That's okay, because then you can see him 2 feet taller when his younger brother.
Wait, I'm ready now. What do you mean? It was yesterday.
Well, I will tell you that if you have a bar mitzvah, you have a lot of boys. Then having a lot of the extra entertainment in the peripherals, back peripherals of the room to keep the kids occupied is going to be important to the clients, because I think one thing that the adults are going to want is still they're going to want to drink, they're going to want to dance, and they're not going to want to have their sleeves tugged on every 5 minutes saying "Mom," and they're being disturbed.
Right.
Adults want to dance and party separate, and if the entertainment company is really good at what they do, they shouldn't see the kids all night.
5 hours apiece.
A lot of tips in there. So I'm pretty sure Adam's going to be back for several episodes.
100%.
It is my pleasure. And then when you make me actually in charge and I have to run around with this Muppet looking whatever the hell it is.
He's not talking about Mike or myself. He's talking about actually the microphone that we're speaking into.
I think
the microphone.
Your hairstyle has looked like that.
It has. It's actually been that color too at one point. It's crazy.
So bringing it all back home, Explosive Entertainment, A-Sharp Production, becoming one of the same.
Super happy to announce that we're officially, in cahoots together, and we are proud and excited and pumped to be bringing high energy event experiences to your neighborhood very soon. Now it's coming.
Adam, you've known these details for years. Give us all the contact information for A-Sharp, the website, Instagram, Facebook.
And your personal, too, if people want to reach out.
Absolutely. So my name is Adam Weitz. I am officially the branding ambassador of A-Sharp Production and AX Productions. I am here at your beck and call for any of your needs, whether you just need a basic consultation before you even come in for a conversation, whether you require certain information on any type of additional type of entertainment that you want to provide your clients, party favors, design, and whatnot. The contact information for A-Sharp Production is and always will be and has been and is now for the future asharpproduction.com. It's 2 P's in the middle, no S on the end. And we also have Instagram, which is at asharpprod. We have Twitter, which is at asharpprod. We have Instagram. Did I mention Instagram? Facebook, which is A-Sharp Production. It's right there. You can't miss it. And then, of course, you can find me. I'm always available. Adam J. Weitz, middle initial J. You can always contact me directly, and I can send you to the right people. So if there is not a service necessarily that AX Productions hosts or is good, the one thing we love to do is send you to our vendors that we know will take very good care.
Adam has said AX, that will be the combined company of
A-Sharp and Explosive.
Pretty simple as it is.
I can't believe we're here.
It's awesome. It was a long time coming, and it was definitely overdue. And Mike and I are thrilled.
Yeah,
I think
it's a blessing. It really is a blessing.
It's a great way to.
You know what the best part is, and I drink a toast to this. I say, "Here's to my competitors."
All day. All day.
I hope we all join forces.
Cheers to that.
Wouldn't it be great? We all join forces and we just have like a big brunch at Ben and Irv. That's a Jewish deli.
Well, guys, thanks again so much for tuning in. Our weekly podcast, Mastering Mitzvahs. Jordan Marshall, Mike Langsner, and our newest edition, Adam White of A-Sharp Productions.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, thank you so much for being here. And we hope you guys got some great content. As always, if you're looking to reach out to us directly, all things Explosive Entertainment at XE Events, Explosive Entertainment on Facebook. You can reach out to Mike or myself directly, Michael L. at XE Events, Jordan at XE Events. If you have any direct questions, you want to email us.
A-Sharp Production is 877-34-SHARP. That's the toll-free number.
You even got the phone number on this bad boy.
Man, who uses phones these days?
I know, right? We're all about texting and third-party apps. But that's a whole other podcast in itself. We'll get to that.
They're trying to help me out.
But thanks guys for tuning in. Thank you. We'll see you guys next week.